Hey there pumpkins. Normally what would happen today is that my Samhain Q&A would come out on the channel, and that is going to happen later on. But I didn't feel right about putting out a spooky, happy Halloween and Samhain celebration Q&A thing without first of all checking in with you guys and making a point of mentioning this really sad event in the witchy community. One of the brightest lights and the most constant inspirations has passed on in a really unexpected, really sad way. And it's affected me, as I know it's affected a lot of people, especially people who used to watch her videos back in the day when YouTube was pretty much only just a thing. And in the midst of this riveting new technological advance of being able to see people streaming online and making videos and stuff like that, a lot of them will have come across TipToeChick, Dee Chapman. And she just had a very profound effect on a great many people, including me. And so I just felt like I really couldn't carry on with scheduling as normal, carry on with normal programming until I'd talked about her and, you know, really just honoured her. One thing I loved about Dee is that she was unapologetically herself. She was so authentic. And it didn't matter how big her channel became and how many people were paying attention to her and some of them hanging off of her every word, and how many video responses she received from different people and how many people interacted with her or debated with her or how big it got for her. She was always just herself. She never changed. She never succumbed to any sense of being looked at by more and more and more sets of eyeballs. She was always her. From the first video she made to the last, she always struck me as being herself. And I've watched a few sort of tribute videos now, people talking about their feelings about her, and I'll leave some of them down below that have really had an effect on me that I thought were really beautiful. And one of them that I watched was the Color Mage's video. I think his name is Bernard Charles. I think it's been a while since I actually interacted with his stuff, because I don't think he uploads that much anymore, but he did an amazing tribute video. And in that video he started out by saying that whenever he would hear Dee say "Hey Tubies," which was her intro, how she said hello to her viewers, he said he just felt safe. I really related to that. I really related to that. It's really weird because you don't realise that that is what it is, I suppose. Like, you never think about these things because you mostly take them for granted, in the sense that, you know, it's not a big overwhelming thing that when somebody says "Hey Tubies," you think, God, I really fucking relax into myself when Dee's about to speak. I really just love it when she uploads and it's just a very familiar intro, a familiar welcome that makes you feel like you've just settled into a really nice energy and an individual that you know is going to provide you with information, but she's also going to provide you with a fucking good energy. She just had a really good energy. So that was familiar to me. That meant something to me when he said that, because I felt the same about her, you know. And BeccaWitch and Sylvia, or Sai as I know her, also made videos where they mentioned that Dee was kind of like just this presence that was familiar. You just felt like you knew her very well. And I think that was because she was just giving with her energy and she didn't put any walls around it. And that just meant a lot to a lot of people, I think, especially people who I'm sure were in the broom closet, you know, especially I'm sure it mattered to people like that, who were in the broom closet, who were unsure about their path, who couldn't keep books at home, who had to hide it from their parents or their family, who were just taking the very first steps and needed somebody to just break them in gently. She had videos, she has videos for everything that a young, confused witchling could possibly want. She was so non-dogmatic, she was so inspiring. She really lit a torch for so many people who have gone on to have very enriching spiritual paths. And I didn't start uploading videos until 2012, by which point Dee was, you know, had been doing her thing for a long time. But at the time that I started uploading videos to YouTube was when she had really started sort of only just tapering off. And I remember finding that sad, and I remember being so excited when she would make the occasional video. And I remember when she came back, you know, when she made quite a few videos in a row, and sort of came back to YouTube and was sort of commenting on how things have changed and her perspective on some of the old videos that she'd done and her perspective on the new batch of witches that had come through. And it was amazing to be able to have this new content from her, and I fangirled a bit. She gave me a good feeling, just like she gave so many of you a good feeling. Becca and Sai both mentioned in their videos that Dee brought so many people together, and she did. She was like a hub. She was like a beacon, I think is how Sylvia described it, and that's true. She was a beacon, like everybody gathered around her. She was like a fucking campfire. And she was very, very supportive of other people who made content. And she was almost, I feel like, kind of a bit of a networker. Like, she brought everybody around and made the community feel a lot more solid and a lot more sturdy. And even for lurkers like me, because I lurked for quite a while before I started making videos, I felt like, you know, she was, her channel and her spirit, her energy was a place people would gather, and they would meet each other and they would interact with each other underneath the comments, and they would find each other's channels and make friends. And she had that kind of quality. I have friends in my life who have that kind of quality. I have this one particular friend, and I call her the glue, because she just holds everyone together. She just makes everybody feel welcome. And she makes everybody feel validated. And she's a very strong personality, but it doesn't have to take away from anyone else. And Dee was the same. I think that's what I loved about her more than anything else. I personally don't feel ready to watch her videos yet, but I know that at a certain point I will find it really comforting. And I'm so glad, like, that I make videos, because I love the thought that people will be able to come and sit with me after I've gone, after I'm no longer in this physical vessel anymore. I love that idea. And I'm really glad that we can have that. And I know that some of you guys have been watching Dee's videos and just sitting with her in that way that is such a precious gift after somebody's passed over. So I've been thinking about that, and I've been grateful to have this channel and that other people have channels, you know, because any one of us could go at any time. And that's something that I do think about a lot. That's something that I don't take for granted, because I'm so intimately connected to the archetype and the energy of death. I think about it every day. I am surrounded by imagery of it all the time. It's a massive part of my practice. It's a massive part of my spiritual journey. But it's very weird, you know, walking with death and honouring death as an archetypal force in the world, because it doesn't make the reality of death that much easier, I don't suspect. I think it makes it easier if you've got a spiritual path of any kind, the vast majority of the time. I think it is something that eases the pain, but it certainly doesn't make it comfortable, and it certainly doesn't make it into a pleasant experience, and it certainly doesn't take away the fact that you need to go through a process after somebody dies. In fact, one of the reasons that I came to want to embrace death so much and to learn to love death so much is because it gives life urgency. It makes you love so much more deeply. It makes you value every second. Without it, I don't think we would have that urgency. I can't see it myself. I can't see that I would have the strength of desire and the strength of intention that I have if I knew I was going to always have another day to be able to have those things and feel those things and take action on those things. So, you know, that's one of the biggest reasons that I love death, is because it is so fucking scary, and because it is a race against time. And because it could happen anytime, any place. Like, I hate the Reaper for that, but I love the Reaper for that also, you know. It's like, it's a very complicated kind of relationship. But of course, it's always extremely sad when children have to bury their parents. It's not the natural way. It's not the natural way round, right? It's not the actual cycle that we usually come to expect. That's part of the normalcy of the pain of life. So one of the things that occurred to me when I found this out, which I found out from Joanna Devine on her Twitter account, and I'm glad it came from such another loving presence and important witchy energy in my life, actually. I thought immediately about Dee's children and how sad it is, and that I just hope that they're surrounded by love, and I'm sure that they're surrounded by strong, positive beings who loved Dee for her authenticity and for who she was as a human being, and who understand that, you know, the spark of that stuff will be in the kids also, and that they'll need to have that nurtured. And I just send all of my love and my good vibes and my strength to Dee's family and loved ones right now. I hope that when she died, she was in a state of joy. I always hope that. I know she was with someone in the car, and I really hope that they were having a good time together, and that she felt connected and loved, and that it was a good day for her before she went. In Sai's video, in Sylvia's video, Sylvia, I'll leave it down below. Please do watch it. She was an amazing, amazing witchy presence from back in the day who has come back specifically to make a tribute video for Dee, which I really appreciated. She said that she feels like Dee knew that she was loved, and Dee knew that she'd done something amazing, and that she'd had a truly positive impact on the witchy community. And I'm sure she knew that too. And that makes me feel good. Whenever something like this happens, whenever I get news of something like this, whenever we lose someone in the community, or I lose someone in my family, or I've lost a friend or anything like that, obviously it always, and pretty much always has, activated me. It's activated me to live, to love, to laugh harder, to hold people closer. But it can't activate me straight away. And I've noticed that about myself. I need to feel my feelings. I need to feel, you know, the hopeless feeling, the why the fuck did this have to happen? This is so senseless, this doesn't make any sense, I don't even believe this can be true, you know, all of that. And I need to just to sit with it. And I'm going to make a separate video about this, because it's really sort of quite synchronistic for me in a way, that I'm going through this feeling now as I'm making this video, of having to just sit with it and not really having yet any sense of allowing it to activate me, but just mourning and just respecting and honouring this incredible soul. As someone in the community who strives to hold space and offer assistance and hopefully offer inspiring messages, and as someone who feels really like, you know, inspired to do that and geared towards that, sometimes when crappy things happen in the world, or when crappy things happen in life, I immediately go to this point in my mind of like, how can I help people through it? How can I be of service during this time where people are really feeling this thing that's difficult and weird and scary? And I think there's nothing wrong with being that kind of person who considers like, how can I hold space well, and what is the message that I can put forth to people that will help them? But quite honestly, sometimes that makes me bypass the work I have to do, the feelings that I have to feel before I can activate for myself, let alone anyone else. And I've been recognising that in the last week or so, especially with certain things happening on the news cycle and my own feelings in that regard, that I was pushing away my own need to just sit with the sadness and just let it be real, and just let it unfold, and don't resist it and don't push it away. And actually that motivation that I sometimes have to go straight to the archetype of the healer, like how can I help, how can I be of service, what can I say that will help others, that makes me skip over sometimes the feelings I need to feel. So this video has just been about me being in my feels about Dee, and being sad and feeling the loss, and recognising that she was just such a bright fucking shining, searing, incandescent light in this community, and I just want to honour her and pay my respects. And I have no real words of inspiration to offer. I just wanted to share with you in the pain, because I know a lot of you are going through it too. I'm sure that many people will write tributes to Dee this Samhain and speak to her and light candles for her. I know I will. And I'm sure that a few of us will bump into her on the astral. That would be epic. And I'm sure that many of us will enjoy her videos for years and years to come. Thank you so, so much, Dee. So many of us owe you a huge debt that you would never have wanted any of us to repay. And you've given so many of us more than you ever could have imagined. But I hope you had even a small glimpse of how much you gave. And I hope that it made you happy For some reason it seems appropriate to end this with a poem, so I'm going to read a poem that makes me think about how death tunes us into the majesty of even the most mundane things. Okay, so the poem is called What the Living Do, and it's by Marie Howe. Johnny, the kitchen sink has been clogged for days. Some utensil probably fell down there. And the Drano won't work but smells dangerous, and the crusty dishes have piled up, waiting for the plumber I still haven't called. This is the everyday we spoke of. It's winter again. The skies are deep, headstrong blue, and the sunlight pours through the open living room windows because the heat's on too high in here, and I can't turn it off. For weeks now, driving or dropping a bag of groceries in the street, the bag breaking. I've been thinking, this is what the living do. And yesterday, hurrying along those wobbly bricks in the Cambridge sidewalk, spilling my coffee down my wrist and sleeve, I thought it again, and again later, when buying a hairbrush. This is it. Parking, slamming the car door shut in the cold, what you called that yearning, what you finally gave up. We want the spring to come and the winter to pass. We want whoever to call or not call, a letter, a kiss. We want more and then more of it. But there are moments, walking, when I catch a glimpse of myself in the window glass, say, the window of the corner video store, and I'm gripped by a cherishing so deep for my own blowing hair, chapped face, and unbuttoned coat, that I'm speechless. I am living. I remember you. Love you, honey bunnies. Blessed be.